Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or whatever time you are watching this video. Welcome to another episode of this EAFC 26 modding tutorial series. My name is Edson Ochoa, and today, yes, I know I've been gone for a while. Today we're going to be talking about a portion of this tutorial for Create a Club that a lot of people have been asking about me in the comment, and I know I mentioned it in the last episode. We were looking at the gameplay, and that is importing legacy assets into the game. For example, you all talked about Crest, we talked about Minikits, probably seen like flags as well. That also counts as legacy assets. But today I'm going to be showing you how to import these textures into the FIFA Editor Tool, specifically in the Legacy Explorer. So let's take a look at how we do this. Okay, so real quick, before we actually show you the process on how to import all of these textures into the game, I do want to look and show you exactly where to locate these image assets in order to import into the game. So for here, I'm going to show you as an example. This is the Red Crowns FIFA mod that I had worked on. If you all have probably seen, I guess, some clips on my social media, you would see that basically as far as UI is concerned, it is complete, right? So the ones that we're going to be focusing on today are going to be, obviously we're going to be looking at the crests. We're also going to be looking at the Minikits. Everything else, as far as textures are concerned, when it comes to Legacy Explorer, it's going to follow the same process, right? So if there's flags or scarves that you want to add, it will be the same process, but it's going to be different folders. So in order to find in Legacy Explorer between all of these folders that are available to change, if you want to change the crest, so this is the more complicated part, is the crest, because there are like there are 4 different folders that you have to add these crests into, and they all correspond to different sizes. And I think if you want to add MLS and La Liga, that's a completely different folder as well. If you want to add a crest, right? So we know we have the regular crest folder, we have the crest 16 by 16, so that's 16 pixels by 16 pixels, crest 32 by 32, and crest 50 by 50, right? And then heads, this is going to be for mini heads for the players, right? Head staff, this is going to be for coaches, right? So as you can see here, head staff, the 60416, that is the ID. Same thing for the heads, it is going to be P for player and then the ID, the player ID of the player. All right, so in this case, 279960 in this mod for the Red Crowns is Jack Crichton, the goalkeeper. Right, and then you have your kits. This is going to be for your mini kits right here. Okay, so now that we know what we need to change, we go into our tutorial project, or the project that you're working on. Today we're only going to be focusing on the crests. When it comes to player images, I mean, that'll be something that you would if you want to add that. Like I said, it will follow a similar procedure. You already know where the folder is, as well as manager heads and the mini kits. We'll go over that. Will be the same process, but today, just for the tutorial purposes, we're going to be importing the crests of our Paso locomotive into the game. All right, so we know the folder. In order to import the crest, we're going to go into data, we're going to go to the UI folder, and then image assets. And we're going to start with crest, right? So we're right here, right? And so you have in crest, you have your custom crest, which these are, if you guys remember from my FIFA 22 tutorials, the custom folder, these are going to be for when you're doing Create a Club in career mode. And it also is the same thing for FIFA clubs. I believe it uses the same crests, but as I mentioned before, when you mod the game, you won't be able to use those mods online. So unfortunately, custom crests that you import will not be able to be used online for your club, your pro clubs, right? So that's what the custom folder is for. You can see right here, you have your different versions, okay? So within Crests, you're going to need to import them into both the dark folder and the light folder. Now, the reason that this happens is because a lot of the times, for example, you'll have, like, let's say, for example, Juventus. Juventus's new crest is monochrome, which means it only uses one color, right? So technically, Juventus, the original color should be, I think, black, if I'm not mistaken, right? But when you have the crest overlaid on top of a dark background, you're not going to be able to see it. And so that's what it's for, right? So the dark folder is where you import the dark mode version, which tends to be white, right? So whenever you have the overlay or the crest overlaid over a dark background, it'll show the white colored version. And when it's on a light background, it will show the black colored version, right? So that's why there's two different folders that we have to import these crests. For multicolored crests, like in this case, for example, like I showed you Arsenal, or in this case, El Paso Locomotive, there's no really need. You can put the same version on both folders, but for modding, you need to put them in these two, in the dark folder and the light folder. So let's go ahead and do that. So in order to do so, we're gonna right click into any image asset for the crest. We're gonna click on duplicate. Okay, and this is going to be the file path of this particular crest. Now, you have to make sure that the image asset name has to follow the nomenclature already established right here. So in this case, I believe that is a lowercase l, and then the ID, the team ID. So in this case, you want to make sure you don't delete all of it, because you want to keep this file path. You want to name this image asset as lowercase l, and then the team ID, in this case for El Paso Locomotive, is 132750. And then you press OK. And so now when you go all the way to the bottom, you will see now you have an image asset available for the team ID 132750. Once you have that, you see that the crest size is 256 and 250 by 256. But all you really need to do, once you create this image asset, you will press the import button. You will find the crest. Oh, and you got to make sure that the crest has a transparent background, right? You will find the crest and you will import it right then and there. So you've already done this for the dark folder. You will do the same thing for the light folder, right? You duplicate it. It doesn't even matter which one. All you need to do is duplicate an existing image asset. You rename 132750. Okay. You're going to open that image asset and you're going to import it. So now you've already imported the crest for 256 pixels by 256 pixels. Now let's open the crest 16 by 16, and you're going to follow the same procedure. Right? Duplicate, rename it to 132750. Okay. Go down to the bottom, open it up, right? So similar procedure. You're gonna click import. You can even import the same texture, because when you do, it will identify that there is a size mismatch, right? And so what you want to do is you click yes, resize the image, and it will resize the image and import it as a 16 by 16 pixels texture into FIFA Editor Tool. You're going to do the same thing with the light folder 132750. Make sure you open it first. Import the crest. There we go. That's for 16. You'll do the same thing with 32 by 32 and 50 by 50. The crest, 512 by 512. I don't know exactly for sure what it is for. I think it's for some other things within the game. But for the most part, for playable teams, you don't need to import anything into these folders. Crest MLS, that is going to be just the template for the UI for MLS teams. So if you are importing an or you're creating a team to add into MLS and you want the UI like this, I think it's for scoreboards, for the intro overlays, to have the correct, I guess, image to display in it, you will have to create a version similar to what's already for in this case DC United, and import it into the game. Same thing if I believe La Liga as well has that. If we go back here to Crest, the Crest folder, you have La Liga. You would have to create if you want to add a La Liga team into it, you would have to add a crest here. You have to create a monochrome version with this specific, color, and import that, duplicate that and import it into the game for that ID of the team you're creating. And if you want to add that to the Liga, just food for thought, right? For the future, depending on what kind of teams you want to create, right? But when it comes to the rest of the process or the rest of the folders, we'll go ahead and skip that as far in the video, and we'll go to the next part. Okay, so once we finished importing the crest, the next image asset that we are going to be looking at today is we're going to be looking at the Minikits. And this is going to be useful, especially when it comes to the kit selection kit, like if you're doing kickoff mode, and even in career mode, right? When you're selecting the kit that you want the teams to use in the game they're going to be playing, it will show the mini kits. So that's why it is imperative that you import a mini kit asset for your custom team. If you remember in the last episode when we were testing it, although I don't remember if that made the final cut or not, but you would see that the mini kits that were being shown for when we're choosing El Paso Locomotives kits, it was showing the Arsenal Home mini kit, and that was because, well, we duplicated the Arsenal Home kit in order to import the actual kit texture into the game. And I'm assuming that FIFA Kit Editor, when you do that, it'll also at the same time duplicate the mini kit assets for that same kit type, right? But we want to create our versions of the mini kits to import into the game that is actually correct with what you imported. So there are different ways to create mini kits, right? I know more recently the FC Editor Tool has added a generate legacy assets application per se, but the way I've done it, and I'll go ahead and show you how, my version. I've done it, ever since EAFC 22. If you guys remember my tutorials from back then, I would use the FIFA Kit Creator website in order to be able to create these mini kits. Now, if that name seems familiar, it's because that website allows you to actually, create kits based on different templates that artists have created. And you were able to export those textures so you can add them into the game. But in order to create mini kits, what you need to do is you'll need to go to, let me double check. Okay, you go to the gear icon and you're gonna click enter preview mode. So in order to create a mini kit for the game, once you're here in preview mode, you're gonna click on upload an image. You're going to import the actual texture of the kit file of the kit that you created into the game. You will then make sure that you have the correct color for this particular kit. In this case, this one uses color 5. You don't need to change the shorts model because that's something like if you were trying to create something that contains the shorts, but you're not. You just want the kit, right? You got to make sure that let's hide the shorts. and then, because we're only getting the mini kit, you don't need to change the language. You can change the type of lighting to whatever your liking is. This is usually the default. Then you have some other versions that have a little bit more contrast between the lights and the darks and the shadows. Night, day lighting, day from the right, day from the left, another version of the day. So this is just pretty much whatever is to your best liking. Defaults, is usually the best ones. It's just going to be for the UI. So to me, whatever defaults you use probably look the best. And then you want to change the 3D model. Usually it goes here to the standard version. For our needs, we need the mini kit version. Okay. Once you do that, make sure everything looks correct. You go to save preview. Make sure that you don't have the background is turned off. That way it is transparent. Actually, real quick, before you save the preview, you always want to make sure, because sometimes you'll want to move it around to see how it looks like. You always want to make sure that you change the view here to front. Otherwise, when you save the preview, it's just going to save at whatever position the 3D model is in this preview window. So before you save it, to make sure that it comes out correctly when you import it, you want to make sure you change the view to front, and then you'll save the preview. And you're going to do the same thing for the away. Import the away version. Make sure you change the color to the correct one. In this case, it is color 4. And then, once again, you will save the preview. Now, for the goalkeeper kits in the game, it uses the long sleeve version for the mini kit image, right? So to do that, we just change it we click here where it says long sleeves. And so the 3D model will change to the long sleeve version. We will import the goalkeeper kit, right? Make sure the color is correct. In this case, it is. It also is color 5. Make sure that the view is to the front. And then we click save preview. Now the thing is, so now you've created the textures, right? Now you've created the actual mini kits, right? The problem is that the EAFC kit creator creates them in a size that is bigger, aka higher resolution, than the actual game actually needs, right? So we need to before you importing, you need to resize them in the similar size and positioning within the actual texture as one that is already in the game, right? So what we need to do is we're gonna go to here with the kits folder, right? And we can export a mini kit that is already in the game that we can then open up in Photoshop. Okay. So once you open this texture in Photoshop. So this is the positioning of how the mini kit is within, and then the correct sizing for this texture, for this image asset, right? So then what you're going to do then is you're going to import your kit that you created. So for example, we want to import the El Paso Locomotive Home Kit. Now before we save, we want to make sure that, as you can see right here, even then it is actually much bigger than how it is supposed to be by default. So what we need to do is we need to shrink it even further, right? So we will continue to modify the sizing of it until it is of a similar size to how it is by default in the game. All right, so you want to make sure that the shoulders line up, the edge of the sleeves line up, right? The bottom also kind of lines up, right? So in this case, it will be about 11.3% of its full size that you need to shrink it down to. move it around. And so now you can actually, once you do this, now you can actually export into your folder. We'll just add a Minikit folder so we don't, confuse ourselves. And we will just put this like El Paso home Minikit. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing with the away. We know it is around 11.30, and then just move it around till it is lined up to what you already have. Make sure that none of the other previous Minikit textures come up. Export as PNG, El Paso. This is the away Minikit. I told you that for the goalkeeper, it is the long sleeve version. So for that, we will go back to FIFA Editor Tool, and we will find the ones, we will export one that has a J2. So J0 is home, J1 is away, J2 is the goalkeeper. So you can see right here, I believe this is, looks like Leeds United. I think it's Leeds United. So you'll export that. And then once you save it, you can actually open it in Photoshop. Right. And then once you do that, you can import your goalkeeper kit. In here, we'll do the same thing. We will resize it to make sure that it lines up with what is by default in the game. So once you do that, this is where you will also export. So this will be El Paso GK Minikit. Now this is where we're going to be importing these Minikits into the game. Be similar situation here. You can right click and duplicate any one of these. You just have to make sure that for the home kit that the image asset name has to be J0. So for the home Minikit, it will be J0 underscore 132750 in our case. So this will be, so it's J0 team underscore team ID underscore 0. So this is going to create an image asset for the home kit for El Paso Locomotive. But as you can see, when we did the whole process of duplicating the kit asset in Data Explorer, the FIFA Editor Tool went ahead and also duplicated the Minikit. When you search legacy files, we'll do J0 underscore 132750. Right? And you can see this is the Minikit that is being used right now. So all you need to do is you're going to go into Minikit and you're going to do El Paso home. Okay. I think that shouldn't matter. For the away, it'll be J1 132750. Once again, import it. Don't worry about this error. J2, next will be J2 132750. And this is where you import the goalkeeper Minikit. Once you do this, you've already imported the Minikits. So now you are going to save the project. And now when you when you run the game with the mods, if we go into the game, we should now be able to see the crests during the menus and in the scoreboards, and I guess you could say the walkouts overlays, and of course the Minikits in the kit selection menu. So let's go ahead and test it and see if that is the case. Okay, so now we are here in the game, we will go to kickoff. So now we're going to go into rest of world. And you can see right here now that El Paso Locomotive's crest is imported into the game. Okay. And when the kit selection, you will see that the home and away are imported. Now don't pay attention to that because that will be for an upcoming video regarding the TAA files. But what should matter is that we have imported the home and away kits correctly into the game. And now you can see here in the walkout overlays that the team crest for Apostle Locomotive is also appearing. You can see it if you noticed it quickly in the scoreboard that is in the stadium. You will also see the crest now. Let's go ahead and skip over, and you will see right here, scoreboard overlay has the Apostle Locomotive crest, as well as that actual scoreboard overlay up in the upper left-hand corner also has the El Paso crest being displayed now. And you can see right there the lineup as well will also show El Paso Locomotive's crest. Just a quick recap before we go. So today we learned how to import legacy assets into the game. The examples we used were for the crests and for the Minikits. If there are other legacy assets that you would like to import into the game, like I mentioned, scarves, flags, mini heads, they follow the same procedures, right? They're just going to be in different folders, but you can follow the same procedures that we went over with the Minikits and the crests, and you should be able to understand and import these files correctly into the game to be seen by the game. You just have to remember that you have to follow, when it comes to file paths, you have to follow the same nomenclature as any other assets that are already into the game, right? You just have to modify the team ID or the player ID for it, right? But that's going to be it for tonight. We thank you so much for your support. We hope you learned everything you need to know about these particular instructions. If there's any questions regarding to what we covered today or what we've covered so far in this series, please let me know in the comments, and I will try to answer them as best as I can. I know, like I said, I've got my full-time job. I've got, the whole play-by-play that I do for a local high school, right? So my spare time tends to be a little bit busy, right? So I really appreciate your patience in regards to waiting for the next episode in the series to come out. I know it was like almost 2 weeks since the last one I uploaded, right? So, but thank you so much for everything, guys. I hope to see you all in the next video. And as always, have a good one.